Hi, good evening. My name is Melvin Bailey, Executive Director of Community Male Empowerment Project. Today we have an exciting show. We have a guest, Mr. Anthony Simpskins, and he will explain his position with the City of Chicago. And like what I shared with you previously on our show in the past, we're going to bring guests on to make sure that we can join together and link up so we can start showing people, as you can see behind me, the name of this show is Community Development and Awareness. So with no further ado, I'd like to Mr. Anthony Simpkins to introduce himself and his job title. So we're going to get deep today, y'all.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Anthony Simpskins, and I am Managing Deputy Commissioner at the City of Chicago's Department of Planning and Development. I am in charge of the Housing Bureau. The Department of Planning and Development promotes growth and sustainability throughout Chicago's neighborhoods, and the Housing Bureau focuses specifically on programs and initiatives that are directed towards housing and promoting the growth of housing and economic development in the city.
Now, great. Now that you hear that, I want my listeners, because I have some very intelligent listeners, I want you guys to hear exactly what he's saying and how all that tie in to us being able to create jobs and to create affordable housing. So I want you to be, so he answered the first question. As you can see, we lied, and I have the questionnaire for him. So we want to make sure he answered that, he cleared that up. So one thing I would like for him to just share with us, and he talked very briefly about it out in the foyer, is the new pilot program. I know he can't go into detail about it, but he can maybe elaborate on it a little for our listeners.
Sure, absolutely. The Department of Planning and Development, specifically the Housing Bureau, runs a number of programs to promote the development of housing. That's affordable housing, especially in areas that can benefit from increased economic and racial diversity in the city, but also programs that promote economic development in the neighborhoods in the city that need additional economic development and stimulus. We also have programs that assist existing homeowners in staying in their homes with helping promote small businesses and also to provide financing for developers who are developing housing and mixed use, which means housing and commercial developments in neighborhoods across the city. Recently, Mayor Emanuel announced the inauguration of a program called Chicago Neighborhood Rebuild Program. The focus of that program is really to, probably for the first time, combine three elements. Those elements would be providing some support for local businesses, smaller developers and contractors in the rehab arena. Also to provide opportunities for workforce development and transitional jobs and job training for especially youth, probably between the ages of 18 and 26 or so in the neighborhoods. We know that the upcoming summer tends to be a period of increased violence.
That's right.
And the city is looking at some of the police districts in the city that suffer from and are impacted by high rates of violent crime, and finding some work alternatives and opportunities for young men and women in those areas. And then also, we know that there are many communities in the city that still suffer from the proliferation of vacant and abandoned buildings. Mm-hmm. We know we had an uptick in the number of vacant and abandoned buildings and buildings that were slated for demolition as well, with the economic downturn and the foreclosure crisis. So we still have a lot of those buildings around, often in exactly the same neighborhoods that suffer from violence. So we want to the mayor wanted to kind of combine those three elements: workforce development and anti-violence, rehabilitation of vacant and abandoned properties, and providing some opportunities for local developers and contractors and investors to take part in providing some rehabilitation of these vacant homes.
So can you explain what area so the listeners can know? So what he's saying, he's going to share with you guys what area. That's letting you know that we have been, well, obviously the city has been listening, at least Anthony and the mayor he just mentioned. So now they're listening to our call and our cry. And our call and cry is we need some assistance to get these guns and drugs out these kids' hands with opportunity. And once we give them a job, we know that will decrease the violence with opportunity. So can you please explain what area are you guys targeting?
So absolutely. Again, we want to use this as an opportunity to provide young people with some job alternatives to, sort of the antisocial behavior. And so we did look at the areas that have are impacted most severely by violent crime. Those are the 7th, 10th, and 11th police districts. Roughly, those would include the community areas of Inglewood, Garfield Park, North Lawndale, Pilsen, Little Village. So that those general community areas. And so we hope to, it's a pilot program, so we're going to start small and work out the kinks. Hopefully the goal is to try and rehab about 50 vacant homes, and over the period of the program, hopefully we can engage about 200 youth.
So did you hear the number? 50 homes, about 200 youth. So I want everyone to be patient with us, because what he's saying, and we're constantly building that bridge, because we've been for the years, I mean, past years, it's been a kind of a gap, a communication gap. When we go down to City Hall and when we're talking to our elected officials, thank God now the city is hearing our cry again. So he's going to come back. Hopefully he can come back on the show once the program is started. Then we can explain how the kinks have been worked out. Agreed?
Absolutely.
So y'all heard that. He said he would love to. So let's get to the next one. So of course, this is the next one that about vacant lots for $1. And then if a person have missed the large lot program, what other buy-down programs that the city has for vacant lots? Can you explain that?
Sure, absolutely. So you were referring to the large lots program. Often people call it the dollar lot program. It's been one of our most popular programs. Unfortunately, the application period ended at the end of January. But in that program, residents were able to apply to purchase for $1 vacant city-owned lots on the same blocks or blocks near where they own their own property.
Okay.
So it gave people in the community an opportunity to acquire the lots. The lots have to be kept as open space for a period of time, and you have to pay your real estate taxes, and you have to keep the lots in good condition. So we've gotten over 2,800 applications. We made about 4,000 lots available.
Oh, wow.
And so those applications are now in, and they're going through those applications. If you missed the large lots application period, doesn't necessarily mean that if you have your eye on a lot on your block that you would like to acquire. We do have some other ways that you can do that. Our ANLAP program, which stands for Adjacent Neighbors Land Acquisition Program, that's a program that's been around for a long time. And that also is a program that provides for the sale of lots that are adjacent to your property. So if you have a city-owned vacant lot that's right next door to your property, you can apply to acquire that property. There's a $150 application fee, which pays for an appraisal. And the lots are sold based upon the appraised value of the lot. So if the lot is $10,000 or less, the acquisition price is $1,000. If it's more than $10,000 up to $20,000 in value, you pay $2,000 for it. And if it's more than that, up to $50,000, then you pay the $2,000 plus 5% or whatever that difference is. You have to use the lots for open space and side lots, or you can build a garage, or you can build an addition to your house on the lots. We also have what's called negotiated sales. So negotiated sales is not limited to lots right next door to you, and you can negotiate to buy more than one lot, as a matter of fact. Homeowners, developers, anybody's eligible to buy the lots. There's a $250 application fee, which again pays for an appraisal, and the lots are sold generally at the appraised value, though you can negotiate to pay less than the appraised value for the lots if you're going to give something in exchange. For instance, if you're going to build affordable housing on the lots that you negotiate for, or if you're going to create a business that's going to produce a certain number of jobs, you can negotiate for lower per lot sales price. You have to landscape the lots within 6 months, and you have a year to begin your construction project. Many of the lots through the negotiated sale process are kept either for open space and side lots or for parking lots. So a lot of businesses will do a negotiated sale to acquire parcels for parking. So those are the other avenues that are available for people that want to get the vacant lots.
So did you hear that? Now I want my viewers to be very clear on, the process. So, and of course there's an application process go along with this. So, and it's a great opportunity for the viewers to make sure that the adjacent lot next to their house or around the city where they can create some jobs and do a negotiated sale with the city. And I always encourage us to use this opportunity as a tool because you will learn how the city works. You will learn that, okay, it is what it is. A lot of bureaucracy and a lot of tedious paperwork with the city, but unfortunately that's the way it is. And we have to leap them hurdles. We have to cross that bridge in order to achieve the goal. So again, I'd like to thank Anthony for coming out with us. And then, of course, we have more questions. So I told you we're going to have an exciting show so you guys can call in. If you want to call in, you can please call in at 312-738-1060 if you have any questions.
Melvin, and if I could, just certainly people can call with their questions, but if you need additional information or you want to apply for some of the programs, you can always check our website, which is www.cityofchicago.org/DPD, which stands for Department of Planning and Development. And you can also call our main number, which is 312-744-4190. That's 312-744-4190, and just tell the operator which program you'd like to get some information about, and they can direct you accordingly.
Great. So I'm glad, and he's going to mention that again before the show is before we end, because I want everybody to get this information. I want you to get this information because I want you to be empowered. I want you to be aware, and I want you to be just informed. Because again, we have another hot summer coming up, and we are trying our best. Putting our best foot forward to get these guns out of these young kids' hands. We perish for the lack of opportunity and the lack of knowledge. So we want to make sure that you be informed on the decisions that's going on with the city of Chicago. And we're so grateful that now, only thing I would have to say, they putting a lot of things on the news prematurely before the program is actually started. But that's good for me because once I read it, I'm gone. They just put it on the news. I'm down there asking questions.
Well, Melvin, you have Chicago Community Mail Empowerment has worked with the City of Chicago on some of these acquisition rehab programs in the past that have worked to provide some job opportunities for young people in the neighborhoods and also clear some of the vacant buildings. And Community Mail Empowerment is exactly the kind of local mission-based developers and investors that we'll be looking to work with in this program and other programs.
So great, and I'm glad you mentioned that because we are mentoring other small developers that want to be into this space. We are mentoring. For right now, we're just mentoring them with the knowledge and the paperwork so they can be prepared. So when this do come down, they'll be ready to move forward and cross that bridge, and I'm going to make sure that they don't fall down. It's my job to make sure that when a person link up with us and I'm mentoring you, we just want you to just follow the roadmap because it's not me, it's the team behind me to make sure that we are successful. I'm just the guy that's marching out and just trying to get the guns and drugs out these young kids' hands with opportunity. So again, Auntie, so I'm glad you mentioned that. So and I understand that the city put it on the news. I just got to put it out there. They put $2 million. It's not a lot of money for that pilot program you guys are taking a bond to, move forward. I know it's not there yet. So my goal is when I went to city council is try to get more money into that program, because I know the more money you have into that program, the more we can do. We can increase the houses, increase the employment, and move that agenda forward. So I know you have no objection to that. Me trying to talk to the aldermen to get you more money, and that's my job. That's my job, is to make sure that we can be aware. So again, if you want to call in, please call in at 312-738-1060. And again, we have about 15 minutes left of the program, because I want to make sure that the department of, he said it, the Housing Bureau and Department of Planning and Development is here, so they can not be on the hot seat, because either you're for us or you're against us. And I say it all the time. I talk to my aldermen, I talk to the elected officials to say, listen, we need you guys to be more proactive. We need you guys to be more boisterous in our community, because you are the alderman in our ward, and we love you, but we need to know that you love us back, so we can wrap our hands and arms around you. So when we come to this critical point, because we have right now problems, and we need right now solutions to achieve this goal. So again, and I want to share, now we covered the dollar program. We covered the pilot program. Now, and I was reading about Department of Planning and Development. Now, do you guys, with Department of Planning and Development, do you handle TIF money? Do you guys take care of some of the TIF funds?
So, Department of Planning and Development does use TIF funds. We use all kinds of different resources. We use federal pass-through resources like tax credits and home funds, community development block grants, tax-exempt municipal bonds. We use whatever. We use TIF. We use Affordable Housing Opportunity Fund, which is the in lieu fees that come from the Affordable Requirements Ordinance, which is another important resource. So we use all the resources that are available to try and do programs in our neighborhoods and across the city. As a matter of fact, if I could, I'd like to mention a couple programs that we have.
Please.
So we're talking about, right now, we've been talking about this program that is targeted at vacant buildings and creating some home ownership opportunities and some anti-violence and work opportunities. But we also have programs that are directed at helping people that are homeowners in our neighborhoods stay in their homes.
Oh, no, that's great. We love that.
And those are important programs. They've been around for a long time. So, for instance, we have the Roof and Porch program. Homeowners that are owner-occupants, they live in their homes, and they are in desperate need of repairs to be made to their roofs and their porches. If they are low income, which is 80% of the area median income or lower than that is their household income, and they live in their home. They can apply. The next application period is going to be September 14th of this year. They'll take more applications, and the city can provide grants of from $10,000 to $35,000 to repair porches and roofs. We get the contractors. They go out there, they do the scopes of work, and they do the repairs, and the city pays for it. We also have our program called the SARFs program, which is small accessible repairs for seniors. So as people begin to age in their homes, we'd like them to be able to stay in their homes. So this program provides some grant money for seniors that need some accessibility repairs to their homes, like ramps, grab bars in the bathroom, new door handles, things that make it easier for them to stay in their homes, and it doesn't cost them anything. Again, we're talking about 80% of area median income or below. Owner occupants, the home has to be a single family home up to 4 units. Those repairs usually are about $7,000 or so. We also work with the Neighborhood Lending Program, which is run through Neighborhood Housing Services. We have a number of programs that offer low-cost financing for refinancing mortgages to help people stay in their homes that are in danger of foreclosure. People that want to purchase homes in our neighborhoods, and people that need loans to do repairs and rehabs. We also, for a number of targeted neighborhoods, we call targeted blocks, and also our micro markets recovery program areas, people that live in those areas, and also the area around the 606. We have some special programs where you can get grants that come in the form of a forgivable loan. So you can, through the neighborhood lending program, you can get a loan to do repairs to your home, refinance, or buy a home in those areas. And part of that is forgivable over a period of time as long as you continue to live in the home. So it becomes a grant for you and it's low cost. So these are efforts that the department and the city are making to help it be more affordable for people to stay in their homes, because we know that homeowners are an important part of the stability that we need in our neighborhoods.
You're right. So let me ask you a question. So when you mention the grant, is there, I know it's a cap, but is there a number of seniors? You know, like say for instance, if you reach 20 seniors, the program is done, or so you guys are using the funds until I know it's all gone.
Right, we use the funds basically until we run out of the funds that are allocated per year. So for instance, we also have the emergency heat program, which runs from November through April of every year. People that need emergency repairs to furnaces and stuff like that to make sure that they have heat in the wintertime. There's an application period for that, which hasn't started yet. And those repairs are usually about $7,000 or so. They come in and fix furnaces and stuff like that.
Wow.
And we're always oversubscribed every year. We always have a waiting list every year. Roof and porch, we always have a waiting list every year because the need is obviously it's a large need. There are lots and lots of people that live in the city of Chicago. Lots of them are struggling to just make ends meet, and we understand that, and we try and put these programs in place. You were asking about TIF. We also have the TIF-NIP program, Tax Increment Finance and Neighborhood Improvement Program, which in certain TIF districts provides grants for people to do exterior repairs to their homes to improve their homes, again, to make their homes livable, makes their homes more valuable. For people that are 100% of area median income and below. 100% of area median income, if you're talking about a family of 2 people, it's about $60,000 a year. If you're talking about a family of 4 people, it's about $75,000 a year or so. They would qualify. Those get rolled out, and then you can apply for grants of up to $20,000 or so to do repairs, roofs, windows, decks, gutters, tuck pointing, and some interior repairs. And then we have some extra money for energy efficient repairs like window sealing and furnace insulation and roof insulation and stuff like that. We have 4 TIFs where this TIF-NIP program is going to be coming up pretty soon. Over the summer, we're going to be starting these programs in the 119th I-57 TIF, Central West, the 63rd and Ashland TIF, and the Inglewood TIF. We don't have specific dates for those now, but again, people that are interested in the TIF-NIP program can get more information by calling 312-744-7090. That's 312-744-7090. And of course, you can always go to our website, www.cityofchicago.org/DPD, and just do a search for TIF-NIP, roof and porch, emergency heat, whichever program it is that you want to get some information on.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. And I know there's a waiting list, but it's in my understanding and my observation by being in the community, you don't hear about these programs until you have to maybe do more searching, or as an alderman, there's nothing out but, well, I guess with social media now we can kind of tap into it, but excuse me again, you don't hear about the programs in a broad a sense. You know what I mean? But I'm so glad that you're here explaining it, that of course our seniors and our listeners can take advantage of it, because the program is going to start sometimes in the summer. And that'd be great for. I mean, this is a great opportunity for everybody that not aware. And I think the challenge that we face is the paperwork. The paperwork. You know, they think it's intrusive, and it's just tedious. And is it difficult to fill out? Is the paperwork?
So obviously, for these programs, we have to do stuff like verify that the repairs are needed, verify that you're a homeowner, verify that you meet the income guidelines.
Right.
So there is paperwork that needs to be done. There's information that we need to get on your residence, the members of your household, your household income. So there are this is information, but when you call, there's always somebody at the city that can help you, walk you through
Okay,
this.
great.
We know, for instance, a lot of our seniors need help. Again, you can try our website or our telephone number, and there are always people there to assist you.
Great. So I'm gonna get up with because they always tell me to wrap up, Melvin, wrap up, and I always got something to say. But the contractors, real quick, they are city contractors. Are they city?
That we're going to use for this
Yeah.
rebuild program?
Yeah.
No. These are going to be local contractors that live and work in our neighborhoods. And
Great.
what we'll do is we'll have a request for qualifications process where people that are interested in participating in the program as contractors and developers will be able to apply for the program and show their qualifications.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Mr. Anthony Simpskins, for coming to the show. We wrapping up. We have about another 10 seconds. They always put the wrap up sign with me, man. That's another segment we'll talk about. But again, thank you for everything, Anthony, and we'll see you next week.
Happy to be here.